don't claim to understand women well enough to be able to speak about that, but we'll have a lady on later today that will. And as a man, I know that us men out there need to understand the definition of being a leader. So you can find more about that by going into your Bible. Okay, check it out. Let us know how that goes for you. Okay, so my first guest is a gentleman by the name of Brad Raney, and he's been coaching people and training people for many years now, over 25 years, and his business it was founded on 3 spiritual gifts. And we're going to talk about that here in just a second. So, Brad, welcome to the show.
Tony, glad to be on the show. Like you mentioned earlier, I've been on a number of different topic type shows that are actually on the network, and I've enjoyed all those. But this is the one I was really looking forward to because everything that's happened to me in the last 7 to 8 years has been a spiritual gift. It's been an opportunity to really explore things that I was given and really understand what to do with them, and everything else has kind of come out of that. And this is kind of the format where I can do that. I do a lot of work with churches, a lot of work with individuals that are have a real Christian mentality and a real Christian heart. And in those environments, I'm able to speak directly about what happened to me and how to share that. Sometimes when I'm doing corporate stuff, they ask me not to mention it or, kind of gloss over it because they don't want to offend anybody in the room and all those kind of things that happen. So I have to do that. But the people, what's interesting is even if I don't mention it, the people in the rooms that want to hear it still hear it, and they'll come up to me at the end and say, "Oh, I heard what you said." And I'm like, "Well, about what?" "Well, you're a Christian, aren't you?" And I'm like, "Well, yes, but you didn't hear me say that in there because they wouldn't let me." He goes, "No, I heard it. I heard it in your heart. I heard what you were saying." So it really doesn't matter whether you try to put a blanket over it or not. The heart and the soul and the power comes out, and people hear it. And it's amazing the work that God does in rooms where you can't even mention His name. And that's the kind of opportunity, and I'm hoping to share a little bit of that passion and power with your audience this morning. Glad to be here.
Well, Brad, it's funny. You said the last 7 years you've been on a spiritual journey. I found the Lord 5 years ago, this past Easter, and I'll be 59 next week, so I'm a late bloomer. I've always claimed not to be the smartest tool in the shed, but maybe stubborn enough to keep on hanging on to learn something. And what I found in that process was doing radio. They say, don't talk about religion or politics. And I surely don't need to talk about politics. And one day my wife asked me when I was going to start mentioning the Lord on the radio. And I was like, well, I've always been told, and I'm a speaker as well, and I run networking groups, and I've had people come up to me once I decided to use that wording more freely and tell me that the reason why they joined our group was because of my faith. And, I started writing books, getting people to tell their stories because of what the Lord placed in my heart was the proof of a miracle. And, when something great happens, it's like when you buy a new car, you surely show it off. So when a miracle in your life happens, it's hard to keep quiet about it. And when you're speaking to a group of people, whether you're allowed to mention the word or not, the word is always spoken. And the people in the room that need to hear it, well, God's pretty powerful, right? So that's awesome that people come to you and talk about that.
Yeah, it's really interesting because, like I said, a lot of what I do begins with these vowels that I helped to create a few years ago. They're words that we hear every day, but I kind of collected them into a unit, and it's attitude, energy, effort, integrity, intensity, outlook, and uniqueness. The 7 habitual characteristics that start with the E-I-O-U. And the attitude, I would have made it the first vowel even if it wasn't the A, because it's sort of the engine that drives the whole train. And what happens inside of that is it begins the whole process of breaking down the fact that you're here for a greater purpose. One of the things that I actually talk about within attitude is each day is a gift. and the fact that if you believe that this is you open up this box every morning, and inside it could be an average everyday Wednesday. It could be the best day of your life. It could be, if I'm talking to job seekers, you get that job call. If I'm talking to coaches and trainers and people working, you find a way to take your business to the next level. If it's within the Christian faith, you open that box up and there's a smiling opportunity for you to know that someone cares about you at a much higher level and that you're created for a specific purpose. It could be that it could be a bad day box. I've got a mother who's 86 with health problems, and I'm probably going to outlive her. That's the way it normally works. So at some point, I'm going to have a bad day box to open. But the cool thing about these boxes, Tony, is that they last 24 hours. They have a time code on them, and unless you want to bring positives from yesterday into now, you don't take anything negative from today into tomorrow. It's a box that you live with. It goes for exactly 24 hours, and you get another one to open the next morning. So each day to me is an actual gift, and when I look inside that box and see what's there in the morning, I got up this morning, did a few things around the house, looked at my calendar and went, the gift I have today is this opportunity to share with you and with your listeners, and hopefully there's one or two people out there that go, that was important, that made a difference to me, and that's the power you and I have, is to actually affect change on others. It's a ripple in the pond. And that box today is something that I don't care what happens the rest of the day. This next few minutes is really important and really makes a difference to me. And I hope that as we have the conversation, that people will begin to feel the power that you and I have seen. And it's one of those things that if you're starting your day and each day is a gift, what can stop you during the day? What problem, what hole, what mountain do you have to climb that's going to stop you if you realize that you've been given this next 24 hours? What are you going to do with it? That's your choice. God's given you a gift. The question is, what are you going to do with it?
Yeah. I had mentioned earlier about, what had went wrong in my week and, how frustrating it gets. And you make a really good point. Every day you get to open up a new box. And it's a choice that you make whether you want to carry the box from day to day or just close it at the end of the day and start out fresh the next day. Because sooner or later, if you don't carry that box along with you, it does show back up with an explanation of why it happened. But when you carry it with you every day and you keep carrying the box, you have so many boxes on hand, you don't get a chance to see the goodness in the box. All you do is carry around the badness, and we always end up creating whatever it is that we're carrying around with us. So that's a great way to put it. I like that. You get to open up a new box every day, and you shouldn't. I try not to go more than 24 minutes, and I'm really happy when I make it 26 hours. So, it's a struggle every day. But I think you have a good point about having that terminology. It's kind of like a reference point. Okay, so it's really going terrible today. The good news is that, if I wake up tomorrow, I get to start all over with a fresh new look. So, but a lot of us get stuck. I'll give you, for instance, here in Houston, drive time, you could spend an hour and a half in traffic to go 30 miles. Now, for me, it doesn't work too well. Thank God I don't have to do that. But how did those people get past that is what I wonder. How did they not get to work and become disgruntled? How did they not drive home in that and not be agitated with their family? And for me, I know that there's a lot of people that don't make it through that process, but there's people that are making it because of their faith, because they know what they're supposed to do. And I spoke about men being leaders. When they come home from work like that, they're supposed to leave everything in the glove box. Or as you put it, just close the box and open up a new box when you get in the house. So my question is, can you have more than one box to open a day?
That whole trigger that begins in the morning, I think is important. I think it really sets tone. If you're if you decided that it's going to be a negative day and you're looking for all the negative problems that are happening, it may be till 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon when you drop your coffee cup that your son or daughter made for you in class and with your name on it. It finally shatters and you go, I knew it was a bad day, and you draw a direct line between that moment and when you got out of the shower at 7 o'clock in the morning. I call it the shower decision. By the time you get out of the shower in the morning, you've decided what kind of day you're going to have. And part of that each day is a gifting. I even have a plaque that hangs in my master bath that my wife found that has the each day as a gift on it, because I'm not Mr. Happy in the morning. I'll be honest with you. I'm not a morning guy. My son and I, as I'm taking him to school, we'll have these guttural 2 or 3 monosyllabic exchanges between the time he gets in the car and gets out in 7 minutes at the high school, and we don't. I'm not really that great about it. I have to work at it. But my wife found this and said, if you're going to teach this, if you're going to be this, if this is part of your book and all the things that you do with attitude, you need to see it every morning, my friend. And she hung it up in the bathroom. So I honestly believe that by the time I get out of the shower, if I've not had that real experience yet where I feel good and I know what my day is going to be like and I've got a plan, I get out of the shower and look at that and it gets me immediately. I'm like, okay, God, you got me. I understand now that I'm opening this door, and whatever I see on the other side is up to me. It's not what happens to me. It's my reaction to what happens to me, and that's really the whole thing behind it. I think you may have smaller ones to open during the day, but I think that if you start with the one and you really understand that this is your opportunity. You've got another 24 hours on this earth. You've got an opportunity to affect people positively. There's going to be things that happen. They're not going to be great. You're not going to love every moment of every day. That's a given. That's part of life and the overcoming and the growth that has to occur. But the bottom line is you've got to start somewhere. And I started with a fresh, clean slate in the fact that there may be a challenging box that day. There may be a beautiful, open, wonderful thing to open, and you see everything that's coming great for that day. Maybe, like I said, maybe it's just an average every day. I got to go to work, got to take care of the bills, pick up the kids, and it just kind of goes by. But you choose, and that's the point. And the fact that you're in control, the fact that I even have that and understand that, I can tell you that I didn't get that gift until I was in my late 40s, and I was in broadcasting, and we got moved around quite a bit through the years. If you're good, they move you, and if you're bad, you move yourself, and we got moved around on both cases several times. And I was in one of those opportunities where the company had come to me and said, hey, you're great. We're buying another property in another market. We want to send you up there to infiltrate it and take our beliefs with us, and we really want you to go. And my family was entrenched where we were living. And we just loved it. We had great church, great friends. We're close to the beach. We didn't want to move. And so I turned down the job twice. The third time the phone rang, it was from the VP of the entire company saying, do me a favor. We really need you. Your attitude and all the things that you bring there, the strategies, and we need it. Do this favor for me. Move up there. I'll take care of you. So I went to my wife, prayed about it. My mother was experiencing some health problems at that time, and I thought, well, maybe I'll get a little closer. It's a little closer from where we are, and I justified it. And I decided it was okay and that God was really sending me to where we were supposed to go. They got up there, Tony, and it was the worst experience we ever had. About 3 or 4 months into the opportunity, the guy who I committed to move left the company. And as soon as he left the company, the people that were there turned on me like a whole pack of coyotes, because I was the outsider, and it became a terribly destructive, negative environment. My family wasn't happy to be there anyway, and now I'm not happy, and now I get angry. And now I'm at the point where I'm like, what have you done, God? Why did you bring me here? I thought this was supposed to be a good thing. I was supposed to be good for my family. I thought I was supposed to be close to my mother, and I got angry. And I decided I was not going to be in broadcasting anymore. I was going to reinvent myself, and this is where the magic happened. I contacted this company, nationally known company. I'm not going to mention the name, but nationally known company that helps you. It's basically a mental colonoscopy. They get up inside your head and dig around and try to figure out what you're made to do. And I wanted to reinvent myself and remarket myself with new job skills and abilities, because I've been in broadcasting for 20-plus years. I needed to know what those were. Well, they go through this process, and I'm sitting down with them for the first day, and it's 8 hours, and it's a bunch of, literal, why'd you do this? Where'd you come from? Tell me about your past. Not just what do you want to do. It was a real psychological evaluation. I go home, and then every day for 21 days, for 1 hour a day, these questions pop up online, and you have 1 hour to answer them, and the computer the program stops. and I couldn't figure out what it was doing. And it took 21 days of these different questions, and basically what I learned is you can change anything about yourself in 21 days, medically proven. This was one of those things where I was experiencing these, why'd they ask me that yesterday? What are they going to ask me today? What in the world could they ask me tomorrow? And I was worried about all these questions and why they were asking me these things. And what emerged after all this lengthy process that took over 3 weeks was that there were 3 things that I was really gifted with: writing, speaking, and empowering those around me to be the best they can be. And once I realized that, once I looked at those, it's like, that's not a job skill, that's not a life skill, that's a God thing. That's a gift. I've been given these things to share. What am I doing with them? So I immediately went to God